Right, right. Well, we are so glad that she came back for her master's. And, yes. Go ahead. No, it isn't. She has programs.
That's not a bar will do at all.
Clip it to the top of that little rail, stick it up there.
Well, I didn't know about vibration.
We're not using a whole lot of silk.
No.
Should probably clip it back to the cable.
Yeah, I may clip it to itself.
Yeah. That'll leave it fine in shape.
Yeah.
That should be fine, really. And then if it's not out, then it's covered. You know.
Well, I'm out. Like as soon as it, yeah. I'm like I'm gone.
Yeah, he needed to bring me a female cable and to plug in to get out of the outlet. He brought a male cable.
I was thinking that I've seen guys do.
Is there somebody listening on the other side?
Yeah. Well, me. This whoever's live.
If you want to, we'll talk about mic and see what it reads. The podium. Let's
Okay.
take check 1, 2.
Okay. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. They're probably not going to be talking as loud as I just did either.
They get right in.
They do?
Oh, they get right on the mic.
Okay.
Pull it to their face.
Well, then I tell you what. I may clip this mic. Well, they're going to be swapping back and forth, aren't they? Yeah. So this is really the best place for it.
Probably around that speed.
Well, got it all up in there.
Might be fine, right? It's
It- okay.
everything else is the speed.
Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2. So where's the? I mean, there's gain on the receiving end of this.
There should be somewhere.
Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. So I mean, that's about right there, right in front of it.
And I'll put a mic clip on it.
Okay. Okay.
That'll give you a little distance.
Yeah.
So it's not so much.
Well, it
sound
also
pressure.
catch some of those ribbon tweeters as well.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a thin one, yeah. Yeah, just Velcro it. There you go.
I don't have some of these are that mic box that doesn't have any of those. What are these things like that? That's just one? That's two. Okay.
So, and then we can just clip it onto that. Here, let's do this.
Strap it to it.
It's an odd Velcro strap.
Yeah. So I'm doing it all. It goes on top like that.
Oh, okay. It's like, wow,
It's
that's
me,
weird.
man. I'm sorry.
Oh.
That's something that's me.
Oh, that's really odd.
Gaffy here to maybe hold that in
Maybe
place.
we can. Yeah, let's just do the gaffer tape. Yeah, I'll put this in there. Here, can we spin that off? Just to get it out of the way there.
Well, you could clip on that, huh?
It didn't.
Oh,
It didn't
didn't
do
want
it. Yeah, I tried to.
Too slick.
I just want to make sure this thing is not moving a bunch, causing a bunch of vibration. I don't think it will. I mean, it's not like they're having a dance party or something.
Got enough tape?
Oh yeah, I think it'll be plenty.
Like you said, reach out for that ribbon a little bit.
Yeah.
That's probably a great angle. That's right off the
Yeah, exactly.
And those things are loud. Those ribbons are really loud. Kind of hard to handle. Crispy.
They throw though, right?
They throw hard. They're cut back, way back. They're incredible. Some crazy design. This is a chunky system.
It's PV.
Yeah. We use RCF mainly now. The big systems. That's going to be out here in the festivals once. Brought this here, just to stay here for this graduation for LSU's graduation. So I'm going to stay here for that. It doesn't have to go anywhere.
Cool.
You want to check that out on the 1-2-1-2?
Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
This one.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Centenary College's 193rd commencement exercises. My name is Chris Holloman, and I have the privilege of serving as Centenary's 31st president. I'd ask you now to stand and join in the singing with the Centenary Choir of the National Anthem. Remain standing for the invocation by Reverend Lindy Broderick. Gentlemen, remove your hats.
Will you please join me in an attitude of prayer? Holy Creator, Spirit of the universe, we pause in this moment to reflect upon you and upon the mysterious attributes of strength and determination and fortitude. These attributes with which we've been blessed have empowered us to achieve the results that we celebrate today. You've blessed us with endurance, to withstand the challenges that were presented to us along this path that we've trudged and marched and climbed to reach this moment here today. And we are grateful. We stand before you today triumphant in having achieved the goals to which we aspired. We've succeeded. We've arrived. This is our moment. Yet, we give you the glory, O Lord. We give you the thanks. And we ask your blessings on this proceeding this morning. Amen. You may be seated. A reading from the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, Deuteronomy 31, verse 6. Be strong and be bold. Have no fear or dread of them, because it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not fail you or forsake you. Amen.
I'll give you a moment to collect yourself. It's always a tearjerker. Once again, welcome to this commencement ceremony. Thank you, Reverend Broderick. Thank you to Dr. Hobson and the marvelous Centenary Choir. Thank you to the Wind Ensemble, and although he's not here, I'd like to thank Tom Hundemer from our music faculty for revitalizing the Wind Ensemble. It's been a great addition to campus this year. Let's give them a round of applause, all of them. Today is a celebration for the entire Centenary community, and we lift up and welcome and rejoice with all the members of the community that are with us today. We have a number of the Board of Trustees of Centenary College, represented on the podium by the chair, Mr. David Barlow. Although she's not here, we'll give a special shout out to the Bishop of the Louisiana Annual Conference, Cynthia Harvey. Today's her birthday, so if you're watching, Bishop, happy birthday. We look forward to seeing you. Our faculty and staff that have joined us, friends, family, moms, dads, granddads, cousins, uncles, children, siblings. At this point, I'd ask all of those who have shepherded our seniors through their family life to the Centenary community. Seniors, please give your support system a round of applause. Please stand. Friends, family, you're not paying attention. There we go. Thank you for entrusting your students with us. We think we've done a pretty good job with most of them, no, all of them, and we now send them back out into the world. This is Centenary's 110th year in the city of Shreveport, our 193rd year as an institution. Over that time, we have, of course, built a sizable alumni base. We have roughly 10,000 living alumni. Many of you are here, so if you're a Centenary alumnus, alumnae, please stand and be recognized. A few facts and figures about the class of 2018. The class of 2018 was the first group to attend Centenary in Paris, a program that, there you go. Bon. That program has brought Centenary nationwide, worldwide fame for the second straight year. We are the undergraduate college with the highest percentage of our students who have an educational experience abroad, and we're very proud of that. 31 of our students will be receiving institutional honors, sometimes known as Latin honors, here in a few minutes. We have 4 students graduating with a perfect 4.0. That is no small feat. We have 13 additional students who are receiving departmental honors. We'll be awarding 56 Bachelor of Arts, 50 Bachelors of Science, 32 graduate degrees, and 36 minors. We have 8 students who have fulfilled the requirements for double majors, 8 students who are earning actually 2 degrees, dual degrees. 53% of this year's graduating class played an intercollegiate sport in their time at Centenary. In fact, we have 6 students who will be presented their diplomas on the baseball mound because they're competing in the SCAC championship tournament, having won the regular season championship last Sunday. We have one student, Lorna Rawls, who we will be recognizing Dr. Harold Christensen. She was both one of his first students as a member of the class of 85, and one of his last students receiving her MBA today. So she's seen his entire career, for better or worse. We have 15 students who have parents that have graduated from Centenary. We have 2 staff members who are have students graduating. We have 12 states represented in our graduating class, all the way from Alaska to Florida. We have one student, our first student through a program sponsored by the Little Sisters Fund. We have one student graduating from Nepal today. Well, she's graduating from Centenary. She's from Nepal. And will not be the last. We have 2 other students currently enrolled. We have a student who will be recognized, Dr. Ward will recognize, who's graduating, and she is from France. We have 16 of the different parishes in Louisiana represented. We have a great group of students. We are proud to see them go. Students, especially seniors, you all are what make our jobs special. On behalf of the faculty and staff that I'm honored to call my colleagues, I want to thank you for the hard work that you've put in. I know it's been hard. You all have been extremely dedicated. You've excelled in so many different ways. It's a truism, of course, that the ceremony is called commencement because it's not the end, it's the beginning. It's the commencement of the next phase of your life. It may seem like we are sending you out into a difficult world. The fabric of our society is frayed. The economy is in fundamental transition. But it was ever thus. We could have said this any year. Things may be worse in some ways, but they're so much better in others. We are confident that we have given you the skills to succeed in a career, but much more important, to be contributing citizens, to live fulfilled lives. As you know, but unfortunately not everyone knows, the liberal arts have nothing to do with politics. They have everything to do with freedom. The liberal arts are the skills that allow you to be free. We're proud of the liberal arts education that we've provided you, and we know you will make great use of it. Congratulations to the class of 2018. It's now my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Beth Hardy Courtney. She has served as the president and CEO of Louisiana Public Broadcasting for more than 30 years. LPB is not only our state's premier public media enterprise, but is also an important supplier of programming for public television across the country. In fact, she was just sharing earlier today, she'll be hosting down in New Orleans people from public broadcasting from all over the country next week. They've produced and introduced our nation and our world to award-winning documentaries on Louisiana history and culture. Beth has been a tireless, passionate advocate for public broadcasting, testifying before congressional committees and serving on the board of directors for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the entity that provides funding for America's public television and radio stations. If you're a Louisiana native and spent many happy hours as a kid watching PBS kids shows like, I was supposed to get briefed on how to pronounce this one, Zubumafu. Between the Lions? Or, of course, the classic Sesame Street. Then Beth is the hero that you never knew you had. Her advocacy and leadership has sustained LPB through very challenging financial times, helping to ensure that this vital public resource remains accessible to all Louisiana citizens. Throughout her life, Beth has given generously of her talents and energies to benefit many causes and many people in Louisiana and across the country. A common thread running through her pursuits is the conviction that there should be some information, some knowledge available to everyone, some spaces where all people are free to wrestle with big ideas and are protected when they disagree about the meaning of them. This may sound familiar to many of you who have benefited from just such a space at your time here at Centenary. As you listen to Beth share words of wisdom from a career of advocacy and service, consider how you will carry Centenary with you into a wider world. How will you use the privilege of this experience to be a champion for others? Please join me in welcoming Beth Hardy Courtney.
Good morning, everyone. I am so pleased to be here today. Thank you, President Holloman, ladies and gentlemen, the Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, students, family members, and graduates of the class of 2018. It is indeed a beautiful day. You could say I'm an optimist when I adopted that phrase as the title to my remarks, especially since we live in Louisiana, where a thunderstorm is as likely in spring as blooming azaleas and biting mosquitoes. Nevertheless, that phrase, "It's a beautiful day," was the unmistakable greeting of one of my heroes, Fred Rogers. Yes, that Mr. Rogers, the one with the sweater who came in. Yeah. He goes on to say, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine?" I won't make you sing along, although I know you have a wonderful choir, and some of you undoubtedly have beautiful voices as well. But what I will do is tell you a story about Mr. Rogers that helps me every time I have to speak before a large crowd. It was several years ago. I was in Washington, D.C., chairing a meeting of America's public television stations. We had about 1,000 in the audience at a hotel ballroom. We were giving an award to the governor of Pennsylvania, Tom Ridge. He went on to be the first head of Homeland Security. And Fred Rogers, who was from his home state, was to make the presentation. I introduced Fred, who climbed the steps to the platform and promptly fell off the back of the stage. I thought, oh no, I will be remembered as that woman who killed Mr. Rogers. I looked over and there was Fred, slowly climbing back up. He went up to the microphone and said in that unmistakable voice, "It's all right to make a mistake." Well, everyone in the room was immediately 5 years old again. But isn't that a message that is comforting and worth repeating, especially as you're about to walk across this stage and into the next phase of your life? It's all right to make a mistake. It's all right to try new things. It's all right to embrace the joy of this day and relish the satisfaction of graduating from Centenary College. may I be one of the first to congratulate you and your parents. It is often a family effort, and I promise not to burden any of you with a lengthy speech. But it is appropriate for me to share with you a few pieces of acquired wisdom that I hope you can take with you from this day. So the first piece was, it's all right to make a mistake. Mr. Rogers goes on to say there are 3 ways to ultimate success. The first way is to be kind. The second way is to be kind. And the third way is to be kind. He is certainly consistent. Well, last year was the 50th anniversary of his show, and we in public television have been revisiting his messages. They seem especially poignant and needed in this day and age when violent disagreements and arguments are the common discourse in political circles, online chats, and even the dinner table. In our family, the dinner table was where we learned about the events of the day and how to discuss important topics. I am so fortunate that both of my parents were graduates of Centenary College, class of 1938. Yes, 80 years ago. Can you imagine what that time was like? A world on the brink of war. My father was already in the Army Air Corps stationed at Barksdale, learning to fly in planes with open cockpits. My mother from Shreveport was a big woman on campus, according to my dad. President of Chi Omega, actress, budding writer. The average annual wages were $1,730. The price of a new home was $3,900. A gallon of gas was 10 cents, and oil had just been discovered in Saudi Arabia. Joe Louis was the world heavyweight champion. Orson Welles frightened the nation half to death with a radio version of War of the Worlds, and Superman, the comic book character, made his first appearance. So what were those 2 young graduates thinking as they embarked into this world with their degrees? I'm sure they couldn't imagine they would be married as World War II broke out. And Dad went to England to plan bombing raids for the 8th Air Force, and Mom stayed in Shreveport, becoming society editor of the Shreveport Journal. I do know that they began their adult lives armed with liberal arts degrees that encouraged them to learn, question, be curious, and open to new ideas their entire lives. The mission of Centenary is to empower each of you to do more. They both certainly took this to heart. They traveled the world together, Dad becoming a 3-star general and a NATO commander. But when he retired, they returned to Shreveport and to Centenary College. Mother passed away too young, but Dad went on to serve on the board of trustees and to exercise at the Student Rec Center well into his 90s. He always liked to make younger friends and never failed to ask questions about new ideas and current events. I can trace my interest in journalism back to those family dinner tables, where I had to answer questions from my parents who had learned to think critically and care deeply about their fellow man. As a family, we moved often, from military posts in Hawaii to London, Naples, Italy, and Washington. I learned the world was a complex and fascinating place. As I understand, every Centenary freshman now has the opportunity to study in Paris. Too bad. And many students continue with studies and travel abroad. I would urge each of you to continue traveling throughout your lives, not only for pleasure, but because it opens your mind to new ways of thinking and broadens your horizons to include different cultural values. If you will indulge me, I'd like to share another little public television story. Several years ago, I was asked to cover the state finals of our Geography Bee. It took place in Baton Rouge on the campus of LSU. The contestants were 8th graders, and a terribly bright young African-American man was the winner. As the reporters clustered around him, someone asked, "How did you study for this competition?" He was going on to the finals. And he said, "I watched Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego on LPB. I, of course, was thrilled and immediately said, "Get a camera, tape him right away." What I found out was this young man with his mother had taken the bus to campus. They did not own a car, and he had only ventured outside the city on one school field trip to the nearby nuclear power plant at Riverbend. He told me that as he watched LPB, he dreamed of traveling and that we provided a window on the world for him and a vision of what was possible. That simple statement has remained with me through the years and fortified my desire to stay in public media. You see, I've had the opportunity to visit extraordinary locations, from dinner at Versailles to concerts at the White House, Stevie Wonder, by the way. But I derive the most satisfaction from simply knowing my career choice may have made a difference in the lives of others. The Metropolitan Opera star Paul Groves put it very clearly when he said, as a young man living in Lake Charles, Louisiana, the first opera he ever saw was on LPB. He thanked me for that, and it was better than any bouquet of roses. So I would urge each one of you, as you set off on your careers, to remember this famous Winston Churchill quote, and aren't all the best quotes from Churchill. We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. There is satisfaction in choosing a job and a path that allows you to wake up every morning and go to work knowing you are making a difference in the lives of others. I suppose you realize by now that I'm a Methodist and I sing in the choir at University Methodist Church, where your own David Hobson was once a choir leader. I confess that I'm a rather mediocre alto, but I have two very personal pieces of advice, along with my loftier goals for your futures. The first is listen to music every day. Better yet, sing or play music. It can be classical, pop, rock, country, or whatever your taste. Much has been written about how our brains process music and the virtues of exercising left brain, right brain connections. Quite simply, I believe music lifts your spirits and makes the tedium of the everyday fall away. Now, the second very personal admonition was given to me by the author of Atchafalaya Houseboat. At LPB, we produced a documentary about her life story. Gwen Rowland was a recent college graduate who went to live deep in the Atchafalaya swamp with her carpenter boyfriend on a houseboat. It was the 60s. They lived off of the land and water, and her beautiful image was captured by famed photographer C.C. Lockwood as he ventured into the wilderness in his canoe. This picture showed up on National Geographic and helped solidify the image of Louisiana as an exotic spot. As Gwen describes this time in her life, she has one piece of advice for her younger self, and I share it now with you. Wear sunscreen. Not very romantic, but very practical. So I'm about out of advice, and I'm sure you're ready to celebrate. But as a former history teacher, I feel compelled to summarize briefly. 1, it's all right to make a mistake. 2, being kind is the way to ultimate success. 3, think critically and stay curious. 4, travel outside of your comfort zone. 5, make a living and a life that gives back to others. 6, listen to music every day. 7, wear sunscreen, especially when it's a beautiful day like today. I end with one final quote from Mr. Rogers. It's not so much what we have in this life that matters, it's what we do with what we have. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your very special day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Courtney, for those wonderful words. If you haven't put 2 and 2 together, her father is who the Hardy Hall of Fame is named after and whose bust sits outside as you walk into Bynum Commons. So that's the connection you can go over. Maybe we can make it a tradition. If you pat his head, it's good luck or something. Now the college confers its highest recognition, the honorary degrees. In 2011, the Centenary faculty developed and approved an inquiry and action framework organized around 3 complex global challenges of the 21st century. Commitment to meaningful engagement of those challenges through coursework, service opportunities, and intercultural experiences will position Centenary graduates to engage these challenges and lead to a changed world. The challenges are living a meaningful life, sustainability, and expanding our circles of engagement. This year's honorary degree recipients are being honored for their work addressing the global challenge of sustainability. It's important to understand sustainability in a larger sense. We usually use it in this context of environmental sustainability. And it's certainly the case that if we don't have a planet that we can live on, then we're up a creek, to put it mildly. But there are other aspects of sustainability too, and one that our provost, Dr. Ward, has drawn our particular attention to is the concept of civic sustainability. If we don't learn how to live together and what it means to engage in reasoned discourse to solve our problems together, then we also will be up a creek and we will have just as many problems as if we didn't have a livable environment. There are other aspects to sustainability, built environment and so forth. So think broadly, and you'll see several aspects of sustainability represented in our degree recipients. At this point, I'd ask the chairman of the board, Mr. David Barlow, to escort Ms. Jennifer Donner to the podium. The citation reads, "She cultivates small things, tiny seeds, incremental progress, quiet affirmation. She works with discipline, purpose, and joy, often in contrast to a world that is impatient, incoherent, and indifferent. Imbued with these principles, she has embraced a way of being that reveres the mystery and majesty of the natural world and all its inhabitants. She has become keenly attuned to the lessons and teachers embedded throughout this world, in the soil that we mindlessly trod through, the precious water we waste, the reluctant bud we write off as a hopeless case. Through many growing seasons and in many garden plots, she has learned to watch and analyze, and when necessary, to make adjustments and change course. She has let the earth teach her how to care for it, instead of assuming that she already knew. She cares for humans in this way as well, especially the patients she serves at the Martin Luther King Health Center and Pharmacy. Like plants, humans give off signals about our internal workings, but ours are incredibly complex. At certain times, we're bursting with curiosity and delight, and at other times, we're crying out with crippling anxiety, confusion, and loneliness. She has perfected the art of conscientious and compassionate listening, not just with her ears, but with all of her senses, intuiting her patients' needs and making their concerns her own, no matter how small. Because she understands and respects the natural order of things, the cycles of planting and harvest, and the role of each organism within the process, she is continually sowing seeds for the future. As she trains, mentors, and guides volunteers, including so many of our own Centenary students, the roots of her knowledge and wisdom are taking firm hold in fertile ground. With her joyful commitment to service, she ensures that the truths she has learned about how to care for the world and its people can be harvested, shared, and replanted in the next season of life. Planting has often been her very first concrete act upon arriving in a new and unfamiliar place, not for any ostentatious purpose, but as a simple sign that she is placing that corner of the earth under her protection and committing herself to its flourishing. It's what she's done for this city in a small but mighty community garden where healthy vegetables and herbs grow alongside healing quiet and peaceful moments away from the daily struggle that is a reality for so many that find their way there. For cherishing and nurturing the small things that so many miss, for digging deep into the service of restoration and transformation in our community, Centenary College is proud to bestow upon Jennifer L. Donner the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. And now, by the authority vested in me by the state of Louisiana and the Board of Trustees of Centenary College of Louisiana, I do now confer and bestow upon you, Jennifer L. Donner, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and admit you to all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining. Mr. Chairman, would you please escort Mrs. Beth Courtney to the podium? Though she spent her college years elsewhere, she is a true daughter of Centenary, as you've heard, proudly tracing a loving lineage to adored parents who began their journey on this beautiful campus. The future General Spencer and the vivacious intellectual Virginia left many legacies in their time on this earth, but none are greater than their family. Her story began with them, and theirs continues through her. Stories, in fact, have been the work of her life, stories of heroes, of legends, and of the complicated history, politics, and culture of her home, Louisiana. With a historian's sensibility, she has sought out the people, places, and tales that shape our collective consciousness. With a public servant's conviction, she has fought tenaciously to ensure that these stories remain our common property, preserved, shared, and accessible to all. This space, our public square, has called her from a young age, its opportunities feeding her drive for excellence, and its challenges appealing to her sense of duty and purpose. In her charisma, eloquence, what has been referred to as her staggering energy and megawatt smile, those who know her best have long recognized an inherent star power. As they watched her lead major organizations and task forces across the country, testify before Congress, passionately advocate for public broadcasting on national television, it seemed like what she was born to do. It has always been obvious that her talents could have led her to many pursuits in many places, maybe somewhere where the sailing would have been smoother, or the battle for resources less bitter. One of those cities that never sleeps, instead of a place sometimes struggling to rouse itself from the crippling legacies of the past. But those places didn't need her in the way that we do, and those places were not home. Home is where her fierce determination and her insistence on excellence has earned her both public recognition and private admiration. Home is where she has generously volunteered her time and talents to organizations that champion the cause of women, of veterans, and countless other citizens in our state. Home is where she put down roots as a young adult and where she has flourished as she cultivated others. Home is Louisiana. For being our megaphone in a noisy world, for investing your immense personal gifts in our state, and serving as your parents modeled with humility, grace, and thankfulness, Centenary College is proud to bestow upon you, Elizabeth Hardy Courtney, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. And now, by the authority vested in me by the state of Louisiana and the Board of Trustees of Centenary College of Louisiana, I do now confer and bestow upon you, Elizabeth Hardy Courtney, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and admit you to all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereunto. Sorry about that. Didn't break. Today, seniors, you become members of the Centenary College Alumni Association, joining many other men and women here who we recognized earlier, trustees, faculty, administrative staff, alumni. You have chosen Timothy McCoy as your class speaker. You all know all this, but maybe some of the folks in our audience don't. He's been a member of the choir for 4 years and an officer for 2 of those years. He's been a member of the Camerata Chamber Ensemble for 4 years. He was a member of the Senior Honor Society, the Maroon Jackets, this past year. He's the organist and minister of music for Antioch Baptist Church and serves in many other faith-based organizations and churches in the community. He's applying to graduate studies in the fall of this year and intends to pursue a master's in music performance. So inducting our seniors into the Alumni Association today will be your fellow graduate, Mr. Timothy McCoy.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Holloman. Class of 2018, we welcome the faculty, visitors, and friends. I am so honored this morning to share in this joyous occasion. As students here at Centenary, we have faced many challenges, obstacles, and snares along the way. But I want to offer to you the 4 P's of success that have helped me and so many others in this class get through some of our toughest times. Persevere, press, prosperity, and preparation. I had to persevere. I had to continue to strive for the best, even if I was not at my best. Perseverance comes not to ease the burden, but to give you the power to move through the trial to achieve the expected end. Which leads me to my next point. I had to press. Pressing onward simply means that you push through an obstacle or life problem with limited strain. This again does not mean that when it comes it will make it easy for you to get through, but when the problem comes, you have to bear down and weather the storm. However, it is in those times that your perseverance is strengthened. Muscles that are not stretched cannot uphold the weight of the body. Perseverance unstretched cannot uphold the weight of your potential. Potential is the guiding lines that set you up for prosperity, leading to my next point. Prosperity in some terms is related to money or wealth gain, but it also means that you are able to press out of one set of circumstances into a better and more beneficial set of circumstances. This is what graduation is all about. Perseverance coupled with the press allowed you to get through freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and up to this moment in time. Each year had its own problems, which set you up for prosperity, because it is in the tough times that potential is born and reared. Which leads me to my last point. You have to prepare. Now I'm a farmer. I grew up in the country, so this is kind of dear to me. As sure as the sunshine comes, rain is going to come. But the person that is prepared for the storm comes out with more than was taken from him. Remember, preparations is the breeding grounds for success. Preparations made in the past will yield you future benefits. Commence onward knowing that. Go forward knowing that in all things, give thanks. Be blessed on this morning and know that the best is yet to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Timothy. It's now my privilege to welcome to the podium to preside over the awarding of degrees, the Provost of Centenary College, Dr. Jennifer Ward. Madam Provost.
Good morning. Just as we wish our students farewell, we also turn our attention to our faculty. We've made a number of exciting hires for next year, and we look forward to greeting them this summer. Meanwhile, we also bid a fond adieu to Drs. John Neisser, Spencer Dew, and Matt Murphy, and joining the ranks of emeritus faculty after years of dedication to this institution, Drs. Harold Christensen, Todd Gabriel, and Gail Odom. We thank all of these wonderful colleagues for their years of service to Centenary College on behalf of generations of students and colleagues. We wish you all well. Please join me in thanking them.
Madam Provost, will you present the candidates for degrees in course?
Yes, Mr. President. Will all of the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science please rise? Mr. President, these persons, having satisfied all requirements established by the faculty for the degrees Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science, have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for the conferment of the degrees.
Then by the authority vested in me by the state of Louisiana and the Board of Trustees of Centenary College of Louisiana, I do now confer and bestow upon each of you your bachelor's degree and admit to you all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Bachelor of Arts graduates, now's the moment. Take your tassel and move it from the right to the left. Will all those receiving bachelor's degrees please please be seated. Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, you may move your tassels and be seated. Will the candidates for the degrees of Master of Arts in Teaching and Master of Business Administration please rise? Mr. President, these persons have satisfied all requirements established by the faculty for their respective degrees and have been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees for the conferment of the degrees.
Then by the authority vested in me by the state of Louisiana and the Board of Trustees of Centenary College of Louisiana, I do now confer and bestow upon you, each of you, your master's degree, and admit to you all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto appertaining.
Master's graduates, you too get to take your tassels and move them from right to left. And please be seated. Will the faculty marshals please direct the graduates to the platform for the awarding of degrees? And I would also ask Mr. David Barlow, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, to join the President to congratulate our graduates. As our graduates are lining up and before the undergraduate procession begins, I want to recognize several seniors who are not walking today because they were in Cleburne, Texas, running from base to base. I made a sports reference. As top seed, as top seed in the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference Baseball Championship, having emerged victorious during regular season play this past weekend. Those students are Ian Graham, Merrick Holzrichter, Cole Laverne, Caleb Kirk, Connor Soblom, and Chris Zapata. Please join me in applauding their efforts both on and off the field. Mr. President, I would like to call particular attention to those members of the class of 2018 who have completed their courses of study with high distinction. These students are graduating summa cum laude. This indicates that they have an overall grade point average of 3.9 to 4.0. Gage A. Dabin. Rebecca Danielle Frazier. Connor Renee Harwood. Laura Osley Hirsch. Brianna Latrice Jackson. Nicholas T. Sacco. Jeffrey Lance Scott, Jr. Alexander Michael Shannon. Kylie Simonson. Nakoma Lynette Walker. I now recognize those graduating magna cum laude. This indicates that they have an overall grade point average of 3.7 to 3.89. Taylor Ray Ackerman. Akriti Bandari from Nepal, one of our little sisters. Michael Melvin Brackman. Michaela Clark. Kayla Danielle Laws. Caitlin Ann Musio. Marina Esther Perez Quinones. Monica LeBlanc Smith. Halen Elise Sumner. Colton Ray Toops. Jessica Wien Trong. I now recognize those graduating cum laude. This indicates that they have an overall grade point average of 3.5 to 3.69. Caitlin Marie Fallhaber. Ethan Shannon Hyatt. Mason Scott Kay. Hannah Marie Kimbrough. Andrew Donovan Kepnick. Ian Spencer Naron. David Boyd Westbrook. Ashley Sharon White. Amanda Hallie Willis. I'd now like to recognize the students receiving the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Matthew Alexander Banks. Zoe Elizabeth Blanchard. Pamela C. Rogers Bradford. Jessica Ann Broody. Toby Kristen Crouch. Carolyn Dobson. Emily Elizabeth Dewey. Anna Medora Dunn. Julia Lee Eckelkamp. Shakira J. Edwards. Tony L. Ficara. Connie Aletha Ford. Mallory Elise Ford. Carissa Bell Herndon. Peyton Michelle Hurst. Ramanda Regine James. Marie Christine Kadeski. Courtney N. Kale. Allison Rowe Lazeski. Samantha Elise Lyons. Ajan Malora Almije Makion. Timothy Alexander McCoy. Leroy McCrae. Anthony Patrick McDonald. Bailey Suzanne McDonald. Montel Miguel McKenzie. Haley Diane Miller. Tyler Lee Nail. Monica Nicole Rogers. Roberto Alejandro Roig Perez. Aaliyah Marie Thomas. Sarah Elizabeth Wan. Danny Brooks Williams. Jade Armada Zanella. And we're pausing for just a moment to recognize Melisande King, an exchange student from the Université Catholique de Lille, who missed her own graduation in France to complete her coursework this semester here at Centenary. Melisande. And now the Bachelor of Science degrees. Taylor Elizabeth Adair. Danielle Elizabeth Adams. Caleb Andrew Bain. Chase Vince Clark will have a momentary interlude. We should have had some sort of hydraulic thing that. Which one? Yeah. Michael Scott Francis II. Desiree Alexis Fry. Shatavia K. Fullwood. Lydia Benet Grafton. Zachary Richard Harrison. Jessie Serena Heflin. Hang on, I hadn't said your name. Travion DeAndre Kirkendall. Samtorian Alegon Martin. Kaylee Page McDowell. Matthew Thomas Nunn. Riley Morgan Spudick. Christine Buen. Irza Wajid. Andriana Josephine Walsh. Dylan Eugene Weaver. And Rylan James Wan. And now the Master of Arts in Teaching graduates, Angelica Adame Tees. Peter Bowling Anderson. Lauren Alice Benoit. Hannah Elizabeth Bergeron. Alexandra Renee Chesnus. Taylor Lynn DeVille. William K. Fain. And I believe someone is going to assist with the presentation of this degree, our gymnastics coach, Jackie Fain. Mamie Elizabeth Lane. Morgan Pereira Leachman. Stephen D. Moe. Kimberly A. Moon. Michelle Beth Newman. Lauren Marie Petrosh. Keith N. Rhodes. Arsemio Tyrone Smith. Faith Christiana Terquette. Nicole Ann Teege. Heather Michelle Went. And now the Master of Business Administration graduates, Mary Elizabeth Bean. Lindsay Beckham. I'm thinking Lindsay may have been in choir. Hamilton R. Kyle. Lorna Stringer Rawls. And Amanda Marjan Simpson. Mr. President, I present to you the Centenary College of Louisiana class of 2018.
In a moment, I will ask you to stand for the alma mater and for our closing benediction given by Reverend Broderick. I'd also ask that you remain at your seat during the academic procession. Immediately following the recessional, I'd ask you to join us at a reception. Today, thank you, Mrs. Courtney, today is in fact a beautiful day, but yesterday was not. And so with the ground being muddy, the reception will be held in the fitness center just across the street and to your left. We look forward to seeing you there to honor the class of 2018. So at this point, I'd ask you to stand for the alma mater, the benediction. God bless you all, especially our honored class of 2018.
Friends, be strong, be bold, have no fear, for the Lord goes with you. Go forth to transform the world.